All right, shalom, shalom, Israel. First and foremost, want to give all honor and glory to the Most High Yahweh, by Shema Mashiach, Wamalak Yahushai, right? It's your brother Kazak Magun from WFI Chicago coming at you with another quick cold cut, right? So, the topic of this cold cut is going to be Matthew the 15th chapter. A lot of people, they go to this chapter, speaking about the traditions of the elders, that's what this chapter is going into, but a lot of people, a lot of Christians per se, and you got some Israelites too, so-called Israelites, they try to go to this chapter to try to justify that you can eat pork. Whereas nowhere pork is not mentioned, or abominable foods is not mentioned nowhere in this chapter, but they try to, twist it, like how they say we twist the scriptures. They twist it all the way up and try to say that Matthew 15 chapter, speaking about the what goes into the body, that's they saying that's talking about, you can eat pork. So we're gonna get into it, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. First, I'm gonna grab this quick precept though, right? This is the book of Psalms, right? Chapter 119 and verse Salakia. Psalm chapter 119 and verse 104. It says, "Through thy precepts I get understanding, therefore I hate every false way." Right? So through the precepts, we go get the proper understanding of what this chapter is really going into, right? So without further ado, we just go ahead and hop into it. Right? This is the book of Matthew, chapter 15 and verse 1. It says, "Then came to Yahushua scribes and Pharisees, which were of Jerusalem, saying, Why do thy disciples transgress the tradition of the elders? For they wash not their hands when they eat bread." Right? So that's the topic of the conversation right there. It gave it to you right in the beginning, in the first two scriptures, right? It says they came up to Yahushua and said, "Why do thy disciples transgress the traditions of the elders? For they wash not their hands when they eat bread." Right? So the whole topic of the conversation is washing your hands before you eat. The Pharisees and the scribes, they had a tradition. I guess they said it was the tradition of the elders that they will wash their hands, probably do some type of ceremonial washing and all that, where they kind of, whatever, that it was probably something like that, So they said, why is Yahushua and his disciples, why are they transgressing the tradition of the elders? This wasn't a commandment. You can't find nowhere in the nowhere in the laws from Genesis to Deuteronomy where it says that you have to wash your hands before you eat your food. That's not a commandment. It was a tradition. But let's keep going though. Verse 3, Matthew 15 and 3. It says, "But he answered and said unto them, Why do ye also transgress the commandment of God by your traditions?" Right? They transgress the commandments of God by their traditions, right? And he finna go into one tradition, but I'm gonna go into another one, how they transgress the laws of God, right? This is the book of Leviticus, right? Leviticus chapter 26. Leviticus 26 and Salakia. Bible got wet, so it's kind of sticky. 26 and 35, right? Salakia. No, that's not what I wanted. 25 and 35. Salakia. Right? This is Leviticus 25 and 35. It says, "And if thy brother be waxing poor," and who is your brother? Your fellow Israelite, right? It says, "And if thy brother be waxing poor and fallen in decay with thee, then thou shalt relieve him, yea, though he be a stranger or a sojourner, that he may live with thee." Right? "Take thou no usury of him or increase, but fear thy God, that thy brother may live with thee." Right? So it's talking about, we got to treat our brothers, we got to treat our brothers with love. If they fall down bad, we got to treat them with love, help them get back on their feet, But the traditions of the elders, after a time, it started becoming, that the dispersed Israelites, the Israelites that wasn't really keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments. You know, we was kind of looking at them like they wasn't part of our people no more. We was looking at them like they was heathens, and we was treating them like that. You know, and that was the tradition. That was another tradition, because the Lord told us, you know, that we should be, you know, that we should gather ourselves together as a nation, you know, be one, you know. But what we looked at our fellow brethren as heathens, man, you know, and the Lord never told us to do that. Let me go to the book of John, just to show that. I'm gonna get two accounts. Let's go to the book of John, chapter 4, right? The book of John, chapter 4, and verse 8, I believe. Speaking about the woman, the Samaritan woman at the well, and Samaria is the capital of Ephraim, right? So this woman was most likely an Ephraimite. You know, she was somewhere. She was from one of the tribes of the northern kingdom, right? It says this John 4 and 8. It says, "For his disciples were gone away unto the city to buy meat. Then said the woman of Samaria unto him, How is it that thou, being a Jew, askest drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans," right? So that was a tradition that the Jews would not, you know, deal with the Samaritans, you know, because what, you know, we basically ain't look at them as a people. You know, we didn't look at them as a people because what, they was transgressing the laws of God all the time. You know, we was kind of treating them like they was heathens, man. Like they ain't matter. Like they wasn't Israelites themselves. That's how we was treating them. You know, we both Israelites. We both come from the stock of Abraham. You know, but we was treating them like they wasn't the people. You know, and that was the tradition of the elders. You know, you can see that because Peter almost got swallowed up into that peer pressure, man. You know, he did get swallowed up into that peer pressure. Salakia. This is the book of Galatians, right? Salakia, I'm in the feed. This is the book of Galatians, chapter 2. And verse, I'm going to start at 9, right? It says, "And when James, Cephas, and John, who seemed to be pillars, perceived the grace that was given unto me, they gave to me and Barnabas the right hands of fellowship, that we should go unto the heathen, and they unto the circumcision," right? So they was calling the fellow Israelites heathen, right? It says, only they would that we should remember the poor, the same which are Salakia. It says, only they would that we should remember the poor, the same which I also was forward to do, right? But when Peter, this is a point right here. It says, "But when Peter was come to Antioch, I withstood him to the face." Meaning what? I had some words for that brother. You know, I withstood him to the face. And I had to have a conversation with that brother face to face, man. You know, and this is why. It says, "But when Peter was come to Antioch, I withstood him to the face, because he was to be blamed. Before the certain came from James, he did eat with the Gentiles," right? Meaning what? He ate with the Israelite foreigners, right? Because that's who the Gentiles are. It says, "For before that came from James, he did eat with the Gentiles, but when they were come, he withdrew and separated himself, fearing them which were of the circumcision," right? So he was eating with the Gentiles, you know, chilling with them, you know, probably breaking down scriptures and all that, breaking bread with the Gentiles, with the Israelite foreigners, right? But when the Pharisees and they of the circumcision that was stern about keeping the laws, when they came around, Peter kind of got up. He kind of got up like he wasn't really sitting with them. You know, kind of like how you had a homie. Say you had a homie, you and your homie been cool ever since first grade, right? And then boom, you get to high school. Now, you know, since you play sports and he in the band, y'all both kind of went y'all two separate ways. Y'all still kind of cool on one accord though. You know, y'all still kind of cool. But, you know, you kind of sit at the table with everybody else that plays sports and everybody else that got some type of popularity. And he sit at the other table with the band geeks. You know, but if you want to go over there, you know, say you got your lunch tray, you went over there and sat next to your friend that sit with the band geeks at their table, you know, even though y'all both cool, you know, it says even though you go sit with him, you know, and then your jock friends or your other friends that come over, they play sports and they see you sitting with him, you know, they go kind of look at you like, what he doing sitting with they lame ass? You know, you kind of get up like you wasn't really just sitting with them. Like you kind of say you was just over there to buy some candy from the band kids. When the whole time that's your homie that's over there. You know, so that's kind of like the peer pressure that Peter got caught up in. You know, he was over there sitting with the Gentiles, with the Israelite foreigners. You know, but then when the circumcision came, you know, he kind of got up, like he wasn't really sitting with them, because he didn't want to get looked at as like he cool with them. You know, and they did the same thing to Yahushua, man. You know, they did the same thing to Yahushua. This is but Yahushua, hey, he showed them like, look, hey, these are people I came to save, man. You know, I came to save these people. So the Pharisees and the elders, they had a lot of traditions going on, you know, and they was going off with these traditions. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 9, and verse 10. It says, and it came to pass, as Yahushua sat at meat in the house, behold, many publicans and sinners came and sat down with him and his disciples, right? So he was sitting down eating, you know, and a lot of publicans and sinners, you know, people that the circumcision kind of look at as like they garbage, like they not really one of us, you know. We don't deal with them because we don't want to be seen with them. You know, we want to be looked at as righteous men that don't take no shit from nobody. You know, and that tradition right there was kind of breaking up our nation, man. You know, that tradition right there, those feelings of like how the same way, like I just gave a high school analogy with the popular and then the unpopular. You know, that kind of puts a separation between the people at school. You know, people that was probably once friends, people that was probably once family. You know, that puts a separation between them. You know, same thing, it put a separation between our nation. You know, by these vain traditions. So this Matthew 9 and 10, it says, and it came to pass, as Yahushua said at meat in the house, behold, many publicans and sinners came and sat down with him and his disciples, right? It says, and when the Pharisees saw it, they said unto his disciples, why eateth your master with publicans and sinners? Like, you know, so the Pharisees, they saw him, and they looking at Yahushua disciples. They was like, why your master eating with sinners over there? You know, why he over there eating with people eating with adulterers? Why he over there eating with damn pork eaters? Why he over there eating with damn people that got lust demons on them and all of that? Why is he over there with them? You know, if he's so high and mighty, why he over there with them? But yeah, it was a reason that Yahushua was sitting over there with them, man. You know, because those are the people that he came to save. You know, and he kind of cut them up with that through the Spirit. It says, and when the Pharisees saw it, they said unto his disciples, why eateth your master with publicans and sinners? But when Yahushua heard that, he said unto them, they that be whole need not a physician, but they that are sick. Right? So, hey, those that are whole, they don't need a physician. You know, those are the circumcision. Hey, they keeping the laws already. You know, but I'm trying to help the people that's having trouble with keeping the laws. I'm trying to get them, you know, a better way to do it. You know, I'm trying to help them, you know, get on the same page as you. You know, we can't just look. If your brother steady messing up, you know, you don't just kind of get rid of that brother just because he's steady messing up. No, you got to help that brother. You got to extend that helping hand, man. You know, you can't just be a friend in name. So, like, let me see if I can grab this precept. Right? Let me see if this is what I wanted. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 29 from the top. It says, he that is merciful will lend unto his neighbor, and he that strengtheneth his hand keepeth the commandments. Lend to thy neighbor in time of his need, and pay thou thy neighbor again in due season, right? So it says, you know, he that is merciful will lend to his neighbor, you know. And Yahushua, he was merciful, you know. He was over there, you know, he had mercy upon the publicans and sinners. He knew that they had a hard time keeping the law. So those are the people that he came, you know, and he made his main focus. He made those people his main focus so that he could help them, so that he could save them, you know. Let me see, I had another precept. Right, this is the book of Sirach, chapter 37 from the top. It says, every friend saith, I am his friend also, but there is a friend which is only a friend in name. Right? You can't only be a friend in name. You can't just be like, yeah, I'm his friend. And then you're not doing nothing to help that brother. You gotta actually do what it takes to help get that brother up on his feet, man, if you really his so-called friend. But let's go back to Matthew 15 though. We see in the traditions of the elders, and this is, I just wanted to point out one tradition, but this is another tradition mentioned in this chapter that they were speaking on. So I'm gonna go back to Matthew 15 and verse 3. It says, but he answered and said unto them, why do ye also transgress the commandment of God by your tradition? Right? So they were transgressing the commandment of God by this one tradition right here. It says, for God commanded, saying, honor thy father and mother, and he that curseth father or mother, let him die the death. Right? Salakia. Right? It says, but ye say, whosoever shall say to his father or his mother, it is a gift, by whatsoever thou mightest be profited by me, and honor not his father or his mother, he shall be free. Thus have you made the commandment of God of none effect by your tradition. Right? So they was going off, telling their father and telling their parents that it's a gift what I'm able to do for you. You want me to take your, hey, that's like Jake in the world today. His granny asked him to come and change her tire. She say, grandson, I need you to come change my tire. I can't lift it up no more. I'm too old and all that. And you go and you change her tire, you be like, you know what? I should be charging you for this, but this is a gift. That's going off, man. You're supposed to honor your father and your mother, man. You're supposed to honor your elders. That's going off if you're doing that. You wanna you telling them what you're doing for them as a gift. Nigga, they gave you life. They gave birth to you. Chiefly the Most High gave you life, but nigga, they was your parents. They raised you. How you gonna say anything that you're doing for them as a gift? They ain't had to change your diapers. They ain't had to pay for your shoes and all of that with you growing up. So how is anything you doing for them as a gift? You're supposed to honor them. Like it says in the law, man. That's in the law. Let's go to the book of Exodus, right? Chapter 20 and verse 12, right? It says, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Right? And that's in the big 10 commandments, man. Honor thy father and thy mother. That your days may be long. They not supposed to honor you. You're supposed to honor them. But going back to Matthew 15 and 6, it says, and honor not, so like in verse 7, it says, ye hypocrites, which well did Isaiah prophesy of you, saying, this people draweth nigh unto me with their mouth, and honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Right? So, our people, they honor the Most High with their mouth and with their lips, but their heart is truly far from the Most High. They're not really keeping the commandments as they supposed to be. They just righteous on the outside. But what really their heart, meaning their mind, is far from the Most High, So let me grab this quick precept, right? This is the book of Isaiah. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 29. He's quoting Isaiah right now. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 29, and I believe verse 13. Right? I'm gonna start at 12. It says, and the book is delivered to him that is not learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. And he saith, I am not learned. Wherefore the Lord said, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouth and with their lips do honor me. Right? You got a lot of Christians, they draw near the Most High with their mouth. They say, yeah, I'm a servant of God. They make them long ass prayers in the midst of the service and all that. They kind of act all high and mighty and righteous, and got the pastor wearing a big ass Christian cross and all that. They draw near the Most High with their mouth. But what? Indeed, and in their heart, they don't honor the Most High. You know, they don't keep none of the commandments. They still eating pork behind closed doors, man. You know, they still thinking about adultery in their mind and all that. You know, probably commit adultery behind closed doors. You know, they still doing all these things. So they honor the Most High with their lips. You know, every time somebody looking, you know, they try to make themselves look like, you know, they all high and mighty. But really, they not that, man. You know, they whited walls. You know, they a whited wall. You know, you kind of, you know how you wipe a wall down and you kind of repaint it. But what's under that paint, though? All that scum, all that dirt, you know, all that mold and asbestos and all of that. You know, all you did was paint over it. You know, and that's all our people do. You know, they kind of paint over themselves, get themselves a makeover. You know, but what inside? When inside, you know, they don't have none of the fruits of the spirit. You know, they walking according to the flesh with none of the fruits of the spirit. We gonna get to that, right? It says, Isaiah 29:13. Wherefore the Lord said, for as much this people draw near me with their mouth, and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me, and their fear toward me is taught by the precept of men. Right? They fear toward the Most High is taught by the precept of men, man. You know, what's a precept of men? You know, going into this, you know how you have to wash your hands before you eat. They said if you don't wash your hands before you eat, the Lord ain't dealing with you. When did the Lord say that? The Lord said if you eating pork, He not dealing with you. But they kind of look past that. You know, they say if they say in the Christian church, if you pray over the pork, you know, the Lord go accept it. You know, all you gotta do is pray over it. You know, and He go accept it. When did the Lord say that? That's the precept of men. That's not the precept of the Lord. That's precept of men. That's not in the scriptures. You know, that pray over this abomination and the Lord go cleanse it for you. It don't say that in there. You know. Let's go back to Matthew 15. It says 15:8. It says, this people draw nigh unto me with their mouth and honor of me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Right? Let's go to the book of Jeremiah. So let me grab my other Bible. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 12, right? Because Jeremiah kind of said the same thing too. This is Jeremiah 12 and verse 2, right? It says, thou hast planted them, yea, they have taken root, they grow, yea, they bring forth fruit. Thou art near in their mouth and far from their reins, right? The Most High is near in their mouth. They always bringing up the Most High, you know, kind of acting all righteous and all that. But they far from but He far from their reins. You know, they deeds not really showing the works of the Most High, right? So let's go back to Matthew 15, and I'm at verse 9. It says, but in vain they do worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. Right? And we ought to obey God rather than men, man. You know? Let me go to the book Acts chapter 5 and verse 29. Right? It says we ought to obey God rather than men. You know, we're not really worried about the precepts of men. You know, you're not out here to please man. You know? You out here to please the Most High. This is the book of Acts chapter 5 and verse 29. It says, then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, we ought to obey God rather than men, right? So we ought to obey the Most High rather than men, man. You know, we're not out here to please men. So like, let me get another precept in the book of Galatians. I believe that's where it's at. Lord willing, I can find it. It's kind of in the cut. I think it's in the first chapter though. Galatians 1 and right, Galatians 1 and 10, right? It says, for do I now persuade men or God, or do I seek to please men? For if I yet please men, I should not be the servant of Hamashiach, right? So if you out here, if you just partaking in this ministry to please men, to get views on YouTube, you know, to get likes on Facebook, you know, so when you walk in on the feast days, brothers could be like, you know, that's a mighty brother right there. Or when you get done bringing it out, if your only purpose of bringing it out was for after you got done bringing it out, so brothers could come up and dap you like, yeah, brother, that was mighty right there. That was real mighty. You know, Yahabashim Yahweh Brakatham. You know how brothers be, man. You know, if that's your main purpose of being out there on them front lines, being out there on them corners and all that, or doing the work, period, you know, then brother, you in this for the wrong thing. You should be in this, you know, to try to make your call in an election sure, man. You know, not in this Not in this to win over men. Not in this to get views. Not in this for vainglory. You know, you in this to win over the Most High, to win that election, to get crowned in them last days, man. You know, it says, but I certify, verse 11. It says, but I certify you, brethren, that the gospel which we preach of me, which was preached of me, is not of man. For I neither received it by man, neither was I taught it, but by the revelation of Hamashiach Yahushai, right? So Paul said his gospel that he preaching, it's not by man. He ain't out there to preach the precepts of men. You know, he not out there for that. He out there to win over the Most High. He out there to serve the Lord, Hamashiach Yahushai, man. You know, and chiefly, that's what every brother need to be doing in these last days, right? So let's go back to the book of Matthew, chapter 15, right? Matthew 15 and verse 10. And he called the multitude and said unto them, hear and understand, not that which goeth into the mouth defileth a man, right? So now we get into the nitty gritty. Now we get into where the Christians be saying, you know, you can eat pork. It's not what goes into your mouth that defileth a man, but what comes out, you know? And they kind of get tricky with that, man. They can kind of play with your head a little bit. You know, Christians, they subtile. You know, they super subtile. They've been doing it for years. They have much practice. You know, you got a lot of Christians out there that kind of bamboozle you through the spirit, you know? So this, let's go back to that. It says, I'm going to start at verse 10. And he called the multitude and said unto them, hear and understand. Not that which goeth into the mouth defileth a man, but that which cometh out of the mouth, this defileth a man, right? So he talk about, you know, if you eating with unwashed hands, say you're a construction worker. I was just telling this to the brothers the other day on our way to camp when I was breaking this down. Say you're a construction worker, right? You know, and the tradition of the other construction workers, you know, was to wash your hands. You know, when that horn ring to show that it's break time. You know, and all the construction workers, they go to break, but before they go and grab their lunchbox, they all go to the bathroom and wash their hands. Make sure they wash their hands, and then they go grab their lunchbox, and then they start eating their sandwich. But if a construction worker decided not to wash his hands, you know, they was like, brother, it's a tradition that everybody wash their hands, brother. You know, and you trying to get on that, brother. Talking about, no, brother, you ain't wash your hands before you ate your food, brother. You gotta do that. You gotta wash your hands. You know, that's what everybody else. Don't you see everybody else doing that? That's what you need to do too. And then the brother that chose not to wash his hands, but went straight to his lunchbox and grabbed his sandwich and started eating. You know, he don't really see the point in it. You know, because why? You know, this is the same situation that Yahushua was in. You know, he said, not that which goeth into the mouth defileth a man, but that which cometh out of the mouth, this defileth a man, right? So not that those germs that's on your hands, you know, from you working and coming straight out of work and then grabbing your sandwich and I didn't wash your hands first. You're not worried about those, you know. The Lord said He's not worried about them germs because that's not going to defile me, you know. But it says, but that which comes out of the mouth defileth a man, right? And this is not talking about pork, because pork obviously defiles a man, you know. And when you go back to the law, you know, and we know that the Lord doesn't change, right? So let's go to Leviticus chapter 11, right? And verse, you know, chiefly we know that 11 and 7. I'm going to read Leviticus 11 and 7. It says, and the swine, though he divide the hoof and be cloven-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean to you. Of their flesh shall you not eat, of their carcass shall you not touch. They are unclean unto you, right? So the Lord is saying that we can't eat the swine, right? So let's jump down to the same chapter, Leviticus, verse 44, right? I'm going to start at 43. It says, ye shall not make yourselves abominable with any creeping thing that creepeth, neither shall you make yourselves unclean with them, that ye should be defiled thereby. What that say? That ye should be defiled thereby, right? So eating these abominations can defile you, obviously, you know. And we know that the Lord don't change. I'm gonna keep going on that. Verse 44. It says, for I am Yahweh your God. Ye shall therefore sanctify yourselves, and ye shall be holy, for I am holy. Neither shall ye defile yourselves with any manner of creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, right? So we can't defile ourselves with these abominable foods, man. And that law still stands because why? The Lord doesn't change. Let's go to Malachi 3 and 6. Gotta bring out the milk for Jake, man. You know, Got to bring out the milk for these Christians and all that. You know, and chiefly, hey, it be the milk that be cutting them the most. You know, it don't even be the deep dark breakdowns and all that. Hey, chiefly it be the milk that be cutting these Christians. You know, and cutting these false doctrines and understandings. Right. This is the book of Malachi chapter 3 and verse 6. For I am the Lord Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. I change not. Right? The Lord says he doesn't change. So why, if the Lord said that eating pork back then or eating anything that eating any abomination back then can defile you, why when Yahushua come on the scene, the Lord kind of who chiefly came to speak the words of the Most High, why when he comes on the scene, you know, the Lord, all of a sudden the Lord changes his mind. You know, you can eat those things. They don't defile you. You know, they don't defile you. It's all right. You know, you can eat those things. It's not what goes into the mouth. No, that's not what it's talking about, man. It's talking about unwashing hands, man. Because clearly the Lord just said on Leviticus 11 and 43 through 44 that those foods defile you, man. You know? So let's go back to Matthew 15, right? I'm going to read verse 11 again. It says, not that which goeth into the mouth defileth a man, but that which cometh out of the mouth, this defileth a man. Right, so that what comes out of the mouth. And let's see what comes out of a mouth, right? It says, then came his disciples and said unto him, knowest thou that the Pharisees which were offended after they heard this saying? But he answered and said, every plant which my heavenly Father have not planted, shall be rooted up. Let them alone, they be blind leaders of the blind, and if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch. Right? It says, then answered Peter and said unto him, declare unto us this parable. And Yahushua said, are ye also yet without understanding? Meaning what? You can't understand this either? You know, you on the same level as them. You can't understand this? You know, you need me to break it down to you too. I bet. Right? It says, do not ye yet understand that whatsoever entereth in at the mouth goeth into the belly and is cast out into the drought? Meaning what? Whatever is on your hands, you know, you don't wash your hands. You know, whatever dirt and germs is on your hands, you know, it's entering into your mouth when you touch your food and all of that. You know, it's just go into your belly and you just go shit it out or you go piss it out. You know, that's what's gonna happen. You know, it's not talking about abominable foods, you know. So it says, right, it says, verse 18, but those things which proceed out of the mouth come forth from the heart, and they defile the man, right? Those things that proceed out of the mouth, they come from the heart, and they defile the man. So let's see what comes out of the mouth. It says, for out of the heart proceed evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, fornications, thefts, false witness, blasphemies, right? These are the things which defile a man, but to eat with unwashed hands defileth not a man, right? And those things are the fruits of the flesh. You know, you walking according to the flesh, those are the acts that you're going to be doing, you know. And let's grab that. Let's go to the book of Galatians chapter 5, right? If you're walking according to the flesh, hey, those things are going to be the things that's coming out of your heart, you know. Galatians 5 and verse 19. It says, now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, envyings, murders, drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I also have told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God. Right? So if you're doing those things, if you're living according to these ways, idolatry, thinking adulterous thoughts, thinking about fornication, you know, thinking about robbing your own brother, all of these things, you know, if you're thinking about those things, eventually, from you thinking about it so much, you're gonna eventually act upon it. And that's what Yahushua was going into in Matthew 5. You know, that's talking about the spirit of the law. You know, if you're keeping the law according to the spirit, you're not even gonna want to think about committing adultery. Because thinking about committing adultery, that's not really adultery. You going and doing the act, that's adultery. But if you're thinking about it, if you think about it enough, that evil seed that's in your mind is going to eventually cause you to want to go off and do it. You know, you looking at your brother wife like, damn, she kind of bad, you know, and then you ain't thinking nothing of it. you know. And then the next time you see the brother and his wife, you start undressing her with your eyes and all that, you know. And then you don't think nothing of it. No, I still ain't sleep with her, so I ain't go off. And then the next time, you know, all of a sudden you scrolling on your Facebook, you know, and she and your people that you may know, you know. So you kind of send her a friend request, you know. Oh, that's bro wife. I'm gonna go ahead and add her, you know. And you do that, you know. Next thing you know, you liking her pictures, and then you sliding in the inbox and all of that. And then next thing you know, you sitting with another man's wife, you know. Hey, getting ready to commit adultery, and you go commit adultery, you know, because why? You meditated upon it in your mind, you know, and those things came from the heart, man, you know. So you eventually go act upon it, you know. So you walking according to the flesh, and that's not what you want to do. You want to walk according to the spirit, right? This is Galatians. Let's go back to Galatians real quick. Because if you're walking according to the spirit, you're doing the opposite of those things, right? Galatians 5:22, it says, but the fruit of the spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law, right? So if you're walking according to the spirit, hey, you're going to be doing those things. You're going to be meek. You know, you're going to be long-suffering. You know, you're going to have patience, you know. You go love your neighbor as yourself. Meaning what? You're not gonna think about sleeping with his wife. You're not gonna think about how beautiful she is and all of that. You're not gonna think about none of those things. You're not gonna think about robbing your own brother, or what if his money was yours. You're not gonna think about those things, because you're walking according to the spirit. You know, you walk according to the words of Yahweh Shai. You know, chiefly John 6:63. You know, the words that I speak unto you are spirit and they are life. So you're walking according to this word, man. Right, but let's go back to Matthew 15 to close out this little excursion right here. Matthew 15 and 19, it says, for out of the heart proceed evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, fornications, thefts, false witness, and blasphemies, right? Verse 20, it says, these are the things which defile a man, right? So those things defile a man, you know. Those things defile a man, but what? That doesn't mean that the pork don't defile you no more. You know, because why? We remember that the Lord doesn't change. Let me get another precept on it. You know, just gotta kind of beat it into Jake head, because they go kind of, you know, try to weasel around it. And that's not what the Lord is saying, man. You know, these things, those thought processes can defile you, you know, by you thinking upon them, and then you eventually going and act upon them. You know, now you one of those things. Now you're a thief, because you didn't thought upon it so much, you know, and then eventually you went and did it. Now you're an adulterer, because you didn't thought upon it so much. Now, and then you eventually went and did it. You know, now you're a murderer, because you went and did it. I mean, because you thought about it so much, and then you went and did it. You're a false witness, you know, because you hate that brother so much. You know, you hate that brother so much in your mind that you just want to get him out the way, so you go bear false witness on the brother, you know. Hey, those things, all those things, they start off with the heart and the mind, man, you know. But it's not talking about eating pork, you know. Eating pork still defiles you, you know. That's the dietary law. And we know that the Lord doesn't change. Let me go to the book of James, right? Salakia. I'm going the wrong way. Let's go to the book of James, right? Chapter 1 and verse 17. It says, every good gift and every perfect gift is from above and cometh down from the Father of lights, right? The Most High. It says, with whom is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. That variableness, that means change. With whom is no change. The Most High does not change. He's the same today, yesterday, as he was forever, man. You know, so the Most High doesn't change. So if he said, you know, don't eat pork, hey, you still can't eat pork, brother. Ain't no getting around the word of the Lord, you know. Verse 20, it says, Matthew 15 and 20, it says, these are the things which defile a man, but to eat with unwashed hands defile not a man. So that's the whole topic of the conversation. Where in there did you see pork? Where in there did you see crab, shrimp, and lobster? You know, where in there did you see any abomination, man? You know, it says, these are the things which defile a man, but to eat with unwashed hands defile not a man. That was the topic of the whole conversation, man. So if a brother didn't want to wash his hands, you know, before he ate, that's not going to defile that brother. But what is going to defile that brother? You know, those thoughts. You know, the things that proceed out of the heart. Evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, fornications, thefts, false witness, blasphemies. You know, and also, what else defiles you? Eating abominable foods, like we read in Leviticus 11 and 43 on down, man. You know, so with that, Lord willing, you have the understanding. You know, Lord willing, I could come back with more cold cuts. I want to give all honor and glory to the Most High Yahweh by Shema Mashiach, Wamalak Yahweh Shai. You know, Shalom, put the pork down, Jake. Stop doing it, man. Ain't no excuse. Ain't no excuse to be eating no pork, man. Ain't no excuse to be eating none of those defiled foods, man. You know, Shalom.